Hello and welcome to another episode of Eat Smoke Drink, coffee edition. This is my third coffee of the day, so I am jacked up to the tits. Anyway, today I am going to be going through a new roastery I haven't tried before. It's called Frank's Coffee here in New Zealand. Frank's Roastery. This is a natural EF2 Castillo by Diofanor Ruiz. Diofanor Ruiz. From La Divisa farm in Colombia. So I will put all the details below as usual. Roast date was about 14 days ago, so it's rested all nicely. First look, when I look at the beans, they look very darkly roasted. Okay, relatively uniform in size, minor size differences. It looks very smooth, the bean, and it looks very much dark roasted. Let's get sniffing. On the nose, it is not dark roasted at all, and this is what really interests me about this bean. On the nose, I get that super damp cupboard, funky, pickled juice, dumpster, heavenly garbage smell from the EF2. I'm really starting to love EF2. Every EF2 I've tried so far have been spectacular. I love it. I love the robustness, funkiness, and interest factor of the bean. But it's strange because on the appearance it looks super dark, but on the nose, not at all. I mean, yes, it's very slightly darker than some of the other ones that I've had, but if someone was to blindfold me, I'd be like, that's not too dark at all. That's definitely a medium roast. So I don't know what the deal is with the darkness of the bean versus the appearance itself versus the nose, which isn't actually that dark. So I don't know. Nevertheless, yeah, so it's got that garbage, that pickle, that funk. It's got a black pepper. Grilled peaches. There's a slight medicinal note to it. Macerated stewed cherry. Golden syrup, like a slightly burnt golden syrup. Old leather shoes. And there is a hint of smoke. So when I say smoke, like bonfire smoke or forest fire smoke, you know, like when leaflet is on fire. I don't know what that is. Maybe there was a fire nearby and infused on the fruit. Who knows? But there's definitely a faint hint of bonfire and a forest fire happening over here. It's got a distinctly oily and resiny nose. Charred wood. Yeah, it's got that nice smoky charred wood note there. Burnt rice, toasted rice, like the Japanese toasted rice and tea. Or that toasted rice flavor. Absolutely phenomenal. It tastes like Panela nectarine spices. I don't know what the fuck Panela is, but let's see what happens. Alright, let's get nose in the brew. Just put a lid on it so it doesn't cool down. I know it's not a very glamorous cup, but I'm finding that it's one of my best vessels in terms of utility. It's all about utility. Like a G-string or a butt plug. Utility is just high. Earthy, soily, wet leather, old wet leather, damp wood, black pepper, a faint hint of a gingery spice. There's a fruitiness to it. It says nectarine. You know, I'm kind of getting more peach than nectarine, like a grilled peach, like before, like a smoky peach. There is a distinct smokiness to this coffee. I don't know what it is. The smell of the brew itself is slightly on the dark side, but not too much, which is actually quite crazy considering that the bean itself looks very dark, okay, very, very dark, but there is no extreme darkness on the nose, so that's really quite weird. There is that hint of funk, the garbage funk that the EF2 has, like that rotting, biomass, and that's probably from the EF2 fermentation, who knows, but it's a common factor in the EF2s that I've tried so far, and I love it. I know it sounds weird, but I love it. There is a meatiness to it, like a fatty pork, fatty salami with a black pepper, kind of hint the sourness of raw fermented salami. There is that meatiness to it that I absolutely love. But there is a distinct root, like maybe like an angelica, like the Chinese angelicus root, or a ginseng. There is like a medicinal nature to it that I cannot fully articulate. But anyway, let's sip. Wow, that is so weird. It's a dark roast. So I really think about this when I drink this. The look of the bean is dark. The smell doesn't smell dark. The nose of the brew is on the borderline of dark and medium. And the palate is on the right side of medium roast, on the cusp of dark. I think I am very impressed with this. Now, I'll tell you why, and also I'll tell you, well, my reservations. Mr. Frank. Is Mr. Frank just super talented that they got the perfect spot of dark and medium? Was it by design or was it by accident? I don't know. I do not know. But I would say that this is just on the perfect line between dark and medium. I still prefer mine medium to light, okay? Light to medium. I still prefer that. But I must say, this is an extremely pleasurable coffee to drink because it is on that cusp of medium and dark, and it just gives you that little darkness, but a hint of medium as well. It's got a tanginess to it, like a sour plum. And it just gets me salivating. It's hefty, it's heavy, it's on the oily side of the coffee. Definitely a smoky note to it, like a burnt wood, charred wood, smoldering coals of wood. I don't know where that's coming from, but hey, that's what I'm tasting. Slightly herbal, leathery, but absolutely pleasurable to drink. The palate is very long. The finish is very long, and that is because it is on the cusp of dark. It is not over dark, okay? It is not over dark, but I've got a feeling that Frank and his clientele is probably more espresso driven, so he's putting it on the dark side. It is borderline too dark for me. I am just a millimeter away from saying, nah, it's too dark. But, and like I said, is it by design or by a fluke, by sheer luck that they got it on that perfect cusp? I do not know. I have 3 more Frank's coffee beans to review, and we will see how the other ones pan out. But this here is, to me, the perfect, if you want a bolder roast, a darker roast, the perfect line between medium to medium dark. This is where I would stop. Any more, it's just too much. It's just too much. But fantastic. I'm getting all of that EF2 stank coming through. Fantastic. I'll see you next time. Make sure you eat, smoke, drink.